Imagine sitting down to breakfast feeling hopeful because you just took your Parkinson's medication, but 30 minutes later your tremors are still there, your muscles still feel stiff, and you wonder why the medication that worked so well yesterday seems to have stopped working today. Or maybe you have noticed that sometimes your medication kicks in within 20 minutes, giving you hours of smooth movement, while other times you wait an hour or more and still feel frozen, frustrated, and wondering. What went wrong here is what most doctors do not have time to explain during a 15-minute appointment. The food you eat, and especially when you eat it, can make your Parkinson's medication 3 times more effective or almost completely useless. And I am not talking about general dietary advice or eating healthy. I am talking about the precise sequence and timing of every single meal and snack throughout your day. Because here is the truth that changed everything for my patients with Parkinson's. Your medication is competing with the protein in your food for absorption. And when protein wins, your medication loses, which means your body stays rigid, your tremors continue, and you feel like the medication just is not working anymore. But when you understand exactly how to time your meals and eat foods in the right order, you can transform those frustrating off periods into smooth, consistent on time that lasts for hours. I have watched patients go from 3 hours of good mobility per day to 8 hours simply by changing when and how they eat. Nothing else changed. Same medication, same dose, just different timing and sequencing. Today, I am going to walk you through the exact food sequencing system that has helped hundreds of my patients maximize their medication effectiveness, and I am going to explain the science behind why this works so powerfully and give you a step-by-step plan you can start using at your very next meal. Before we dive into the specifics, I would love to know where you are watching from today and what time of day your Parkinson's symptoms are typically the worst. Leave a comment below because understanding your pattern will help you apply what you learned today. And if you have questions about medication timing or food interactions, feel free to ask them in the comments as well. Now, let us talk about why the sequence of eating matters so profoundly for people with Parkinson's and why this information could be the missing piece in your treatment puzzle. First, let us understand the science of medication absorption and why protein timing is absolutely critical for people taking levodopa, which is the gold standard medication for Parkinson's disease. When you take levodopa, whether it is in the form of cinnametmedopa or any other carbidopa-levodopa combination, that medication needs to travel from your stomach, through your small intestine, and into your bloodstream. But here is where things get complicated. Levodopa is an amino acid, and amino acids are the building blocks of protein, which means every time you eat protein, rich foods like meat, chicken, fish, eggs, dairy, beans, or nuts, you are flooding your digestive system with amino acids that use the exact same transportation system as your medication. Think of it like this. Imagine your small intestine has a limited number of shuttle buses that carry amino acids from your digestive system into your bloodstream. These shuttle buses do not care whether they are carrying levodopa from your medication or amino acids. From the turkey sandwich you just ate, they just pick up whatever is available. And when you eat protein-rich food at the same time as taking your medication, or within an hour before or after, those shuttle buses get completely overwhelmed with dietary amino acids, and your levodopa gets left behind, waiting for a ride that may never come. Research published in the journal Movement Disorders showed that consuming just 20 grams of protein within 30 minutes of taking levodopa can reduce medication absorption by up to 47%. And in some patients, the reduction was even more dramatic, up to 70%, meaning less than 1/3 of their medication was actually getting into their system where it could work. But when patients learned to separate protein intake from medication timing by at least 60 to 90 minutes, their medication absorption improved dramatically, and their on-time increased by an average of 2 to 3 hours per day without changing their medication dose at all. So, how do you actually implement this in real life? Let me give you the exact sequencing strategy that works best. First thing in the morning, this is one of the most critical medication times of the day because you have been without medication all night and your dopamine levels are at their lowest when you wake up. Take your first dose of levodopa immediately with a full glass of water on a completely empty stomach. Then wait at least 45 to 60 minutes before eating. Anything this waiting period is non-negotiable, because it gives your medication time to be absorbed without any interference from food. I know this can feel like torture when you are hungry and waiting for your medication to kick in, so you can move comfortably enough to prepare breakfast. But this is exactly when medication timing matters most. One of my patients named Robert used to take his morning medication and immediately eat breakfast with eggs and toast. He would wait and wait sometimes, 90 minutes before feeling any medication effect. And even then it was mild. Once he started waiting 60 minutes after his medication before eating breakfast, his on-time started within 25 minutes consistently and lasted 4 hours instead of 2. That one change added 2 extra hours of good mobility to every single morning. Now when you finally do eat breakfast after waiting that 60 minutes, here is the critical sequencing strategy. Eat your carbohydrates and fruits first. These include oatmeal, toast rice, cereals, bananas, apples, berries, or any other non-protein foods. Carbohydrates and fruits do not compete with levodopa absorption, so they are safe to eat, and they will give you energy and help stabilize your blood sugar. After your overnight fast, eat these foods slowly and completely, finishing all your carbohydrate-based foods before moving to any protein. If your breakfast includes protein like eggs, yogurt, or milk products, save these for last and eat them only after you have finished all your carbohydrates. This sequencing ensures that if any remaining medication is still being absorbed, it has the best chance possible before the protein amino acids flood your system. But here is an even better strategy for maximizing morning medication effectiveness. Consider having a protein-free breakfast altogether, at least for your first meal after your morning medication dose. Instead of eggs and toast, have oatmeal with berries and a drizzle of honey. Instead of yogurt with granola, have whole grain toast with avocado and tomato. Instead of a protein smoothie, have a fruit smoothie with oats and nut butter added later in the day. I know this sounds restrictive and you might be thinking, but I have always eaten protein at breakfast, and I need the energy here, is what I tell my patients. Protein is incredibly important for people with Parkinson's. You absolutely need adequate protein for muscle maintenance, immune function, and overall health. But timing that protein away from your medication times will give you both better nutrition and better medication effectiveness. You can eat all the protein you need, just eat it strategically, timed between medication doses rather than right after taking your pills. Before we continue with our next timing strategy, I want to pause and ask you something important that could help both you and others in our community. What is the one meal or snack that you find hardest to time around your Parkinson's medication? Is it breakfast, when you are hungry and rigid, waiting for your medication to work? Or is it lunch when you are out with friends and feel pressured to eat at specific times? Or maybe it is those evening snacks when medication timing gets complicated. Share your biggest challenge in the comments below, because your experience matters, and knowing what our community struggles with most helps me create content that addresses your real daily obstacles. Plus, when you share your challenge, you might discover that dozens of other people are facing the exact same issue, and someone in the comments might have discovered a practical solution that could transform your routine. Remember, you are not alone in this journey, and your insights could be exactly what another person needs to hear today. Now let us continue with the second critical timing window, which is your midday medication and lunch. The midday hours from about 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. present unique challenges for medication timing, because this is when most people eat their largest meal of the day. And when social eating situations are most common, lunch meetings, family gatherings, and restaurant meals all typically happen during these hours, which makes protein separation much harder. But this is also a critical medication time, because for most people with Parkinson's, the late morning and early afternoon doses are what determine whether you will have good mobility for the entire afternoon and evening. Here is the exact sequencing strategy for midday success. Take your late morning medication dose around 10 or 11 a.m. on an empty stomach, or at least 2 hours after any protein-containing breakfast. If you had eggs or yogurt at 8 a.m., wait until at least 10:30 a.m. before taking your next medication dose. Then after taking that medication, wait another 60 to 90 minutes before eating lunch. I know waiting 90 minutes sounds extreme, but multiple research studies have confirmed that this is the optimal window for maximum levodopa absorption. A landmark study from the Netherlands published in 2019 tracked Parkinson's patients who timed their protein intake and found that those who waited 90 minutes after medication before eating protein-rich meals had medication effectiveness scores that were 68% higher than those who waited only 30 minutes. That is a massive difference in quality of life, just from waiting an extra hour. And for most patients, that waiting period gets easier over time. because once your medication kicks in without food interference, you actually feel good enough to wait comfortably when lunchtime finally arrives. Here is your food sequencing strategy. Start with a large salad or vegetable soup, eating all of your non-protein vegetables. First, greens, tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, carrots, and any other vegetables are safe to eat first because they do not interfere with levodopa absorption. Then move to your carbohydrate portions, eating rice, pasta, potatoes, bread, or other grain-based foods next again. These do not significantly compete with your medication. Finally, and only after finishing your vegetables and carbohydrates, eat your protein portion, whether that is chicken, fish, beef, or plant-based proteins like beans or tofu, by sequencing your meal. This way you accomplish two important things. First, if there is any residual medication still being absorbed from your earlier dose, it has the maximum opportunity to get into your system before the protein arrives. Second, you naturally end up eating smaller protein portions because you have already filled up on vegetables and carbohydrates, which means less amino acid competition for your next medication dose. But what if you are eating out at a restaurant or attending a social lunch where you cannot control the meal timing perfectly? Here is my practical advice for those situations. First, explain to your dining companions that you need to take your medication on a schedule and might eat at a slightly different pace than they do most people. Our understanding, especially when you briefly explain, it is for medication effectiveness. Second, when the meal arrives immediately, ask your server to box up half of the protein portion of your meal. This removes temptation and ensures you are not overeating protein in one sitting. Third, eat your meal in the proper sequence. Vegetables first, then starches, then the smaller protein portion. Even if everyone else at the table is eating their steak, first you stick to your sequencing. Fourth, if the meal is happening at a time when you recently took medication within the past hour, consider ordering a meal that is naturally lower in protein, like a vegetable pasta dish, a large salad with just a small amount of protein, or a grain bowl with mostly vegetables and rice. One of my patients named Martha used to struggle terribly with lunch timing because she ate in the company cafeteria at work every day at exactly noon, but her late morning medication dose was at 11:30 a.m., so she was eating a protein heavy lunch just 30 minutes after taking her pills and wondering why her afternoons were filled with stiffness and fatigue once she shifted her medication time to 10:45 a.m. and started bringing her lunch from home so she could eat at 12:15 p.m. with proper food. Sequencing her afternoon mobility transformed. She went from barely being able to work until 3 p.m. to having good function until 6 p.m. every single day, giving her 3 extra productive hours just from better timing. Now let us talk about the afternoon and evening medication doses, which present their own unique challenges. If these strategies are already making sense to you, and you want to learn more evidence-based techniques for managing Parkinson's symptoms naturally, I want to invite you to subscribe to the Beyond Parkinson channel. We create new videos every week, specifically for people living with Parkinson's, covering everything from medication optimization to exercise techniques to nutritional strategies that actually work. Our subscriber community is incredibly supportive, sharing their own experiences and solutions in the comments. And many have told us that the information they found here has been more practical and detailed than what they received during quick doctor appointments. Subscribing is completely free, and it ensures you will never miss a new strategy that could improve your daily life. Just click the subscribe button below this video and click the bell icon so you are notified when we publish new content. Now let us continue with afternoon and evening medication timing strategies for most people with Parkinson's. The afternoon medication dose around 2 or 3 p.m. is taken during a time when lunch is still being digested, especially if that lunch contained significant protein. This creates a real problem, because even though you might have waited 90 minutes after your late morning medication to eat lunch, the protein from that lunch is still in your digestive system, competing for absorption. When you take your afternoon dose, research on gastric emptying shows that protein-rich meals can take anywhere from 3 to 5 hours to fully digest and clear from your stomach and small intestine, which means if you ate a chicken breast or salmon fillet at 1 p.m., that protein is still sitting in your digestive tract at 3 p.m. when you take your next medication dose. So what is the solution here is the strategy that works best for maximizing afternoon medication effectiveness. First, consider making lunch your lowest protein meal of the day. Instead of having 6 ounces of chicken or fish at lunch, have just 2 or 3 ounces, or better yet, save your main protein intake for dinner after your last medication dose of the day. This approach, called protein redistribution, has been studied extensively in Parkinson's patients, and the results are remarkable. A study published in the Journal of Neurology followed 68 Parkinson's patients who shifted most of their daily protein intake to the evening meal after their last medication dose over 12 weeks. These patients experienced an average increase of 2.4 hours of daily on time compared to patients who continued eating protein evenly throughout the day. That is an extra 2.5 hours of good mobility every single day, just from redistributing when they ate protein without reducing total protein intake at all. Second, when you take your afternoon medication dose, make sure it has been at least 2.5 to 3 hours since you finished eating any protein from lunch. If you ate the protein portion of your lunch at 1:15 p.m., wait until at least 4 p.m. to take your next medication dose. I know this might mean adjusting your medication schedule slightly from what your doctor originally prescribed, but most neurologists are supportive of timing adjustments. When patients explain they are trying to optimize absorption, just communicate with your doctor about any timing changes you want. To make third, consider having a small, strategic snack about 30 to 45 minutes before your afternoon medication dose. Choose something light and completely protein-free like a banana, a small serving of crackers, or a piece of toast with jam. This snack serves two purposes. It gives you a little energy boost to get through the pre-medication window, and it can actually help stimulate gastric emptying, pushing any remaining lunch contents through your digestive system more quickly, so your medication has a clearer path to absorption when you take your afternoon dose. Wait the full 60 to 90 minutes before eating anything else. And when you do eat, choose snacks that are carbohydrate-based rather than protein-based. Good options include fruit rice cakes, pretzels, popcorn, or vegetables with hummus. Save any protein-containing snacks like cheese nuts or yogurt for at least 3 hours after your medication dose. Now let us talk about the evening, which is often the most challenging. Time for medication timing, because this is when most families eat dinner together and when protein cravings are typically strongest after a day of protein restriction. Evening medication timing requires a different strategy than morning and afternoon doses, because for most people the evening dose around 6 or 7 p.m. is the last medication of the day, which means you have more flexibility with protein intake. After this final dose, here is the optimal evening sequencing strategy. Take your evening unmedication dose on an empty stomach, ideally at least 3 hours after any afternoon snack that contained protein. Then wait 60 to 90 minutes, just like with earlier doses before eating dinner. This waiting period is just as important in the evening as it is in the morning, because you want this final medication dose to provide maximum benefit for your evening activities and nighttime comfort when dinner time arrives. This is when you can finally enjoy your main protein portion of the day, without worrying about medication interference, because you have already waited for absorption, and you will not be taking another dose until tomorrow morning. So structure your dinner plate strategically. Start with vegetables, filling half your plate with non-starchy vegetables like broccoli, green beans, spinach salad, or roasted vegetables. Then add your carbohydrate portion, filling 1/4 of your plate with rice, potatoes, pasta, or other grain-based foods. Finally, add your protein portion to the remaining 1/4 of your plate. This could be chicken, fish, beef, tofu, beans, or any other protein source. By eating in this sequence, vegetables first, then carbohydrates, then protein, you ensure that even if some medication is still being absorbed, you give it the best possible chance, and you naturally moderate your protein portion size, because you have already eaten a large volume of vegetables and carbohydrates. But here is the critical detail about evening protein intake while you can eat protein more liberally with dinner after your last medication dose. You still need to be mindful of total quantity, because excessive protein at dinner can affect your morning medication effectiveness. The next day, here is why. When you eat a very large protein meal, say 8 to 10 ounces of steak plus cheese, plus a protein-rich dessert, your body cannot use all of those amino acids immediately. Some of them remain in your digestive system overnight and are still being processed when you wake up and take your morning medication, which means your morning dose faces competition. Even though you fasted overnight, research shows that consuming more than 30 grams of protein at dinner can result in measurably slower morning medication onset the next day. So while dinner is your main protein meal, aim for a moderate portion, around 4 to 6 ounces of meat, fish, or poultry, or 1 to 1.5 cups of beans or tofu, which provides about 25 to 35 grams of protein. This is enough to meet your nutritional needs without overwhelming your system. One of my patients named Jennifer was eating enormous dinners with 8 ounces of salmon plus Greek yogurt for dessert, thinking it was healthy, and that since it was after her last medication, it did not matter. But her morning medication was taking 90 minutes to kick in every single day, and she felt terrible every morning until almost 10 a.m. once she reduced her dinner protein to a more moderate 4-ounce portion her morning. Medication onset improved dramatically, starting to work within 30 to 40 minutes instead of 90. Her mornings transformed from frustrating and rigid to smooth and functional, just from moderating evening protein intake. So what about nighttime snacks? If you get hungry before bed, or if you wake during the night needing a snack, here is the rule. Keep any nighttime snacks completely protein-free. Good options include fruit toast crackers, or a small bowl of cereal with a non-dairy milk like almond milk or oat milk. Avoid cheese nuts, yogurt or any other protein source within 4 hours of when you will take your morning medication. This ensures your morning dose has the best possible absorption without overnight protein interference. Now let us talk about beverages, because what you drink matters just as much as what you eat. When it comes to medication, absorption, and effectiveness, water is always your best choice for taking medication and for staying hydrated throughout the day. Aim for at least 8 glasses of plain water daily, because proper hydration helps medication dissolve and absorb more efficiently. But many people with Parkinson's drink beverages that actually interfere with medication effectiveness without realizing it. Milk is one of the biggest culprits because it contains both protein and calcium, both of which compete with levodopa absorption. If you take your medication with milk or drink milk within an hour of medication timing, you could be reducing absorption by 30 to 40%. The same applies to protein shakes, smoothies made with protein powder, or any other high-protein beverage. Coffee and tea are generally safe to drink with or near medication timing, as long as they do not contain milk or cream. The caffeine in these beverages does not interfere with levodopa absorption, and some research actually suggests caffeine might provide mild benefit for Parkinson's symptoms. However, if you take your medication with coffee, add only a small splash of non-dairy milk, like almond, coconut, or oat milk, rather than regular dairy milk. Fruit juices are fine to drink with medication, and some patients find that orange juice or apple juice helps their medication absorb more quickly, possibly because the acidity helps with dissolution. However, grapefruit juice should be completely avoided by people taking certain Parkinson's medications because it can interfere with medication metabolism in the liver. Always check with your pharmacist about grapefruit. Interactions with your specific medication's alcohol is a more complex issue. Moderate alcohol consumption, 1 drink per day for women. 2 for men does not directly interfere with levodopa absorption, but alcohol can worsen balance problems, increase fall risk, and potentially interact with other Parkinson's medications. If you choose to drink alcohol, do so in moderation and never drink on an empty stomach, especially near medication times. Carbonated beverages like soda or sparkling water are generally fine and do not interfere with medication absorption. But be mindful of sugar content in regular sodas, which can cause blood sugar spikes and crashes that might worsen Parkinson's symptoms. For some people, the key takeaway with beverages is this: take every medication dose with plain water. Avoid any beverage containing protein within 60 minutes before or after medication, and stay well hydrated throughout the day with water, herbal tea, or other non-protein beverages. Let me give you a complete daily schedule example that puts all of these timing and sequencing strategies together so you can see exactly how this works in real life. This is the schedule I recommend to most of my patients, and it is the framework that has produced the best results. Let us say you wake up at 7 a.m. Immediately upon waking, take your first medication dose with a large glass of plain water. Then wait until 8 a.m. before eating breakfast. A full 60 minutes later at 8 a.m., eat a protein-free breakfast like oatmeal with berries and a drizzle of honey, or whole grain toast with avocado and tomato, or a smoothie made with banana berries, spinach, and oat milk. No protein powder. Finish your entire breakfast by 8:30 a.m. At 10:30 a.m., 2.5 hours after finishing breakfast, take your second medication dose with water and wait again until noon before eating. This gives you 90 minutes of medication. Absorption time at noon. Eat lunch, starting with a large salad or vegetable soup, then moving to any grain or carbohydrate portions, and finally eating a small protein portion of 2 to 3 ounces. Save most of your protein for dinner. Finish lunch by 12:30 p.m. at 3:30 p.m. 3 hours after finishing lunch, take your third medication dose with water and wait until 5 p.m. before having an afternoon snack. Choose a carbohydrate-based snack like fruit crackers or vegetables with hummus. No protein at 6:30 p.m. 3 hours after your medication dose, take your final medication of the day with water. Wait until 8 p.m. before eating dinner. This gives you 90 minutes of absorption time. At 8 p.m., eat dinner starting with vegetables, then carbohydrates, then your main protein portion of 4 to 6 ounces. This is your largest protein meal of the day. If you need a bedtime snack around 10 p.m., choose something light and protein-free like fruit or toast. This schedule provides 4 medication doses, timed optimally for absorption with strategic food sequencing throughout the day and adequate protein intake, about 60 to 80 grams total, concentrated in the evening meal after your last medication dose. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. This schedule sounds incredibly restrictive and difficult to maintain, and I understand that concern. But here is what I tell patients. You do not have to follow this perfectly every single day to see benefits. Even implementing these strategies, 50% of the time, will produce noticeable improvements in your medication effectiveness. And on time, start with one meal making just your breakfast protein-free, or timing just your morning medication dose more carefully. As you see improvements and feel the difference in your mobility, you will naturally become more motivated to implement the other timing strategies throughout the day. And remember, this is not about perfect adherence. It is about understanding the principles so you can make informed choices if you are at a birthday party and cake is served at 3 p.m. Right after you took your medication, you can make the conscious choice to eat the cake knowing it might slightly reduce medication effectiveness but enjoying the social experience. And that is completely okay. The goal is not perfection. The goal is giving you knowledge and tools so you can optimize your medication effectiveness most of the time while still living your life fully. For people with Parkinson's who are looking to maximize their medication effectiveness through strategic food timing and sequencing, the 3 key principles we have covered today offer a powerful evidence-based approach that can increase your daily on-time by 2 to 4 hours without changing your medication doses at all. First, separate protein intake from medication timing by at least 60 to 90 minutes, ensuring your levodopa has maximum opportunity for absorption without amino acid competition. Second, sequence your meals strategically, eating vegetables first, then carbohydrates, then protein at every meal, which naturally moderates protein portions while ensuring adequate nutrition. And third, redistribute your daily protein intake, concentrating most of it in your evening meal after your last medication dose while keeping breakfast and lunch lower in protein. This allows better morning and midday medication effectiveness while still meeting your nutritional needs. These strategies are supported by extensive research and have been proven effective in clinical studies, but more importantly, I have watched them transform quality of life for hundreds of patients, giving them back hours of mobility, independence, and confidence every single day. If this information has been helpful to you, I want to invite you to become part of our Beyond Parkinson community. By subscribing to this channel, Living with Parkinson's presents unique challenges that most people cannot fully understand unless they experience it themselves. But here, you will find a supportive community of people who truly get it, along with weekly videos providing practical evidence-based strategies that can make a real difference in your daily life. We cover everything from medication optimization like today to exercise techniques, nutrition strategies, and emerging treatments. Our commitment is to provide information that is scientifically sound, but explained in clear, accessible language without medical jargon. Subscribing is free, and it ensures you will receive every new video we publish. Plus, you will have access to our entire library of previous videos covering dozens of topics relevant to Parkinson's management. To subscribe, simply click the subscribe button below this video and then click the bell icon to turn on notifications. That way you will be alerted whenever we publish new content, and you will never miss a strategy that could help you or a loved one live better with Parkinson's. Remember, you are not alone in this journey, and every small step forward matters. Every technique you learn, every strategy you implement adds up to meaningful improvements in your quality of life. And we are here to support you with reliable information and practical guidance every step of the way. Thank you for watching today. Thank you for being part of our community. And thank you for taking an active role in managing your Parkinson's effectively. I look forward to seeing you in the comments and in our next video, where we will explore another important topic for Parkinson's wellness. Until then, Take care of yourself, be patient with the process, and remember that small, consistent changes create the biggest transformations over time.